Hey, welcome back to Always Something Garage and standing in front of the Bronco. I know you guys have heard me say it. I make a little subtle comments every time Caleb's filming is, we got to get on the Bronco. Well, here it is. Finally, we got the 84 Bronco. That's going to be a lot of the content for the next probably a couple months. I got a lot of work to do. So in 2008, I decided in the fall, I'm going to take it apart, strip it down, finish the body work, and paint it. Well, this is where it's ended up. Little history about the truck. It's an 84 Bronco. Bought it in '99. It was a 6-cylinder, 4-speed stock truck. It was a base model, rubber mats. Had a lot of rust on it. But I had a '75 Bronco, 302 C4 automatic, and my wife didn't like that year Bronco. She liked the larger full size, so I sold the 75, which I kick myself now, but this definitely is give us a lot more room to do what we wanted to do with it. So in '99 I got it back home. I put a 289 in it with the 4-speed in it to get it tagged. So it was a stock truck. I had a 289 around. We threw it in there, got it tagged. Once I got it tagged, of course, I started doing some mods to it. So in 2001, I ended up putting a 6-inch skyjacker lift kit, a 2-inch body lift, and the 39 Mickey Thompsons on it. And basically drove it that way for a year with the 289. So we ran around with the 289 and the 39 Mickeys for a little bit, 4-speed, but that wasn't enough. You know, myself, I'm a mud racer way back when. Big block Fords was always in our mud race trucks, so I ended up building a 60 over 460, 472 cubic inch. Had a set of old Arius flat top pistons from an old mud truck engine I had. Had truck rods, so we basically built a whole stout bottom end. Had the crank polished and finished, and then I had a set of dove heads laying around, so I ended up taking the dove heads and sending them out, and I got bigger valves. I got Milodon 219 intakes and 176 exhaust, put it in hardened exhaust seats. I ended up doing the port and polish on them myself. Had the spring pockets cut in them for bigger springs, and bronze valve guides, the whole 9 yards in the heads. Put all that together in this motor back back in 2002. Put a Comp Cam's Extreme 4x4 cam in it, one of their the 239 model number. Had an Eldebrock Victor Jr. on it with a 750 carb. Well, that was a great project in those years. Started it up in my driveway, and basically it ate itself in the driveway within hours. So had a major internal engine failure. That was the first 460 I had ever built on my own without my father. My father, when we were mud racing, he would build all the engines. I'd do all the chassis, all the fabrication design of the whole suspension and setup. So I wanted to try it on my own. Learned a valuable lesson anyway, sent metal all through the thing, and that was the end of that engine. Was pretty disappointed. Sat for 8 months. I didn't know what I was going to do because I just sunk a lot of money into it. So came back around the next year and decided I'm going to build another motor. Had parts left over from the mud racing days, of course. My dad had parts. I built another 460, 60 over. We had a set of cast pistons this time. So put a set of cast pistons, rods, new crank, all new bearings throughout it, stock heads, put a Crane RV cam in it, and a Eldebrock Performer intake that we had laying around. So that was a pretty basic, nice running motor. Had a C6 automatic behind it with a 205 transfer case. And at that time, I was so far into it, I'm like, I'll just go ahead and do a front axle swap on it. So I did a solid axle Dana 44 out of a 79. So basically, that was the running gear. We got it running. Had to do things over the year or so just to, change the distributor. I put a billet MSD distributor and ignition in it. Just did some things to get it reliable. Built a full exhaust for it. Hand-built 3-inch exhaust all the way out the back. Did some more cosmetic things to it to try to get it to be roadworthy, which it ended up being. So then came 2004, and myself and my buddy been doing Bloomsburg ever since I was mud racing at Bloomsburg, and he had a show truck at Bloomsburg. Once we got out of that, we continued going as family to the event with our kids, with Caleb and my oldest son. We would always go. So we decided I'd like to take the Bronco up. Wasn't finished body-wise or paint. So I ended up putting the cage in it. So designed, built the cage. It has custom tube bumpers that go with it. So we had done that in the spring, in pretty much summer, right up to Bloomsburg, which is in July 2004. We ended up taking the truck up there. And from 2004 to 2008, did a little mods here and there, did some more body work on it, started working on some of the rust patch spots and getting those fixed up. Just slowly doing some things. Mechanically did some things, put aluminum radiator in it just to get it to run better. We drove it around a lot, cruise nights, cruising our local main streets. It was a fun toy. My wife loved this vehicle, of course. She loved full-size Broncos. She loved this vehicle. She drove the kids, which you've heard Caleb say, to school in it. We've gone to sporting events, soccer practice. So yeah, it was a great driver, and that's what we wanted to build. So in 2008, I decided in the fall, I'm going to take it apart, strip it down, finish the body work, and paint it. So from 2008 to current, as you can see, the truck is still not finished. Well, what happened? We got busy. Sports came in. Caleb, my oldest son, that played sports. We got sucked into that youth sports thing, traveling around the country. We got into the ATVs, which you've seen some of the videos, which we'll be doing some more on those. We got into riding. Then we got into racing. So we built multiple race bikes, 400 EXs, 450Rs, Hondas from ground up. I'm talking from suspension to full engine builds. I mean, we just do it all. That's how I am. So we ended up doing that. The boys started getting old enough to drive. So guess what? We had to make my oldest son. We built him you know, a 94 Ford Ranger pre-runner, similar to Caleb's truck that you've already seen. You know, full bed cage, suspension, long travel in the back, you know, front fiberglass fenders, the whole 9 yards.
We'll add a picture here somewhere.
Yep. So then that was done. We ended up getting into racing at that point. So Caleb got into racing the quads pretty heavily. So we're building those and always working on them. And of course, he came up to get his license, so we had to build him a truck, and that's where the Dakota came in. We built that. We built that in 2016 in a really fast pace. Actually, 2015, really fast pace, so he could start driving at the school that school year, and never finished it. You saw the primered fenders, you know, just never got it painted. Runs great, and then of course the rust over those years. But again, just got sucked in. The Bronco still suffered. I worked on it intermittently throughout the years. I'd get a week, 2, maybe a month on it. I've done a lot of mods, and we'll show you since then. I've added more cage to it. I've added an engine cage, did some different body work to it, patch panels and things like that. But yeah, this one thing after another. Built my wife her own quad. We've got a custom golf cart that I built that's fully caged. You'll see it in the next couple months because I'm going to do an engine swap in the golf cart. But yeah, it's been one thing after another. Now it's time to get back on the Bronco. So we're going to go through the Bronco. I'll show you what has been done. I'll give you what it's gonna become, I guess, what my plans are to get it back to where our original dream was back almost 20 years ago. So you see, here's the engine bay, quite dusty, dirty. Was obviously brand new, clean, polished, always kept clean. But it's been sitting for 12 years now. Dust in here, all the grime. So the plan is to redo this motor and put it back to where I originally, in 2002, wanted to build. So I'm going to pull this apart. We're going to put those Arius flat top pistons back in it with the truck rods. I'm going to put the dove heads back on it with adjustable valve train. I have a Hawaiian Stealth intake that's going to go on it. We'll still use the 750 carb on it. But I'm going to put this motor back together with the parts I've had sitting since 2002. The heads have only a couple hours on them. They've been sitting in a bag ever since that first motor grenaded in my driveway. Didn't hurt anything, obviously, in the heads. But yeah, just time, money, and things like that just never happened. But that is definitely going back in, since I'm going to pull it all apart. I'm going to pull the body off the frame is the plan, so I can get to the frame. We got plans. I'm going to redo the whole frame again, paint it. I got stainless brake lines and fuel lines I'm going to put on it, and just basically get it fresh back up the way it looked in 2004. Really. Was when we had it pretty much completely running and clean. So in the engine bay, when I took it all apart, I wanted to add some more cage to it, kind of make it cool, more racy theme. So I added this engine cage. Started on it, obviously it's rusted up, but got a removable cross member here so we can get the motor out. It ties into the shock towers. It's all bolt in. I got it bolted in back here. This is actually a poly, made this poly bushing here since it's locked into that. And all the cage mounts that actually mount the cage to the frame are all poly bushing. So we'll take a look at that here. Just finishing those up, but try to keep down on the vibration from a solidly mounted cage. So put this cage in 2004, like I was saying, was a fast, I think I put it in less than a month because we were trying to make it to Bloomsburg. But as you can see, it's a well thought out cage. The door bars, are made for easy access instead of your typical door bar coming down here. Yeah, it may not be NHRA certified, but it definitely does a good purpose. We got the back bar wraps around the seats, as you can see there, with an opening so you can still get into the back like a typical Bronco. If you would have put the rear seat bar in, you would have had to climb over or under it. So we basically made that center open. The back wraps around the back seats, which is nice. Basically a family bar, as they would call it. And it was great when the kids were young. You felt safe. They actually had harnesses in the back. We got it gusseted in some of the corners, things like that. I'm going to probably add another bar in. As you can see, we added the front engine cage. I got the bar that ties to that front engine cage through the firewall. And then I'm going to put a dash bar, a removable dash bar in here, just to tie them across to give that strength. But we got these nice little grab handles kind of made them kind of flow with the cage. And it still isn't that hard to get up into. Getting older. Another thing, if time allots, I'm really thinking about it since my wife and I were getting a little older and not spring chickens, is I'm going to make retractable set of steps. I don't want to put a running board, or some kind of bar there. I just hate that look. I'm going to probably buy a used set of electric running boards off of something and retrofit them on here so that when we open the door, that those steps will come down. Now that we're getting a little older, it would help get us in a little better. So you look at the interior, stripped it all out. So in 2008, when I decided to pull it apart to paint it, I had the bright idea, I'm just going to cut the harness out totally because I want to rewire it. My wife teases me, probably a bad idea, because then I couldn't move the vehicle. I stripped it totally out. So it sat for a couple years in the corner of the garage. I could work on it, but I couldn't move it in and out unless I pushed it or pulled it with my truck. Became a real hassle. So somewhere in 2010, I got the idea, I'm going to get this thing back running. I mean, it's pretty basic, just put some fuel to it and some ignition. So as you can see, I got it hot wired. Pretty much up. I can start it. I can move it out. I got the radiator hooked to it, so I can, take a little bit of time moving it out, not worry about overheating it. But yeah, I put the steering column back in it because I had it all stripped out of there. But we were able to move it. So I'm rewiring the whole thing. I got an Auto Wire, American Auto Wire kit, a Highway 15 kit already. Purchased many years ago. I have accrued parts for this thing over those 12 years. That just is amazing. I have the full brand new interior for the thing. I got a brand new Rampage soft top that we're going to put on it, which is always a dream. We run this thing without the top 99% of the time. We never wanted to put that fiberglass top on, so I got a good deal on that. The intake, the cam, and things that I've repurchased to build the motor back. The parts, differential parts and things like that I have. So, but yeah, we're going to rewire this. I redid the dash. I'm going to put all altimeter gauges, full assortment, speedo, tachometer. It's going to have shift light integrated into the dash. I cut a double DIN radio face in there, so I have an older double DIN radio with backup camera out of my wife's Caravan. It was aftermarket. We sold the van, so I put the factory one back in, but I kept the aftermarket, so that's going in. You'll see that. So that's kind of custom. You don't see too many of these old ones with those big face screens, but it will have a backup camera. Just those kind of cool things. We're going to do some touches to it. Seats, we're going to go with the the Trail Cats, which Caleb has in his Mustang. I'm going to steal them out of there. No. After riding in that Mustang with those Corbeaus, right?
Yep.
Trail Cats, love the feel of them. Had some aftermarket seats in here, some cheap China brand, aftermarket seats with harness ways. I gave them to my oldest son to put in his pre-runner Ranger and never got them back. These are his Ranger seats that are just stuck in there for now. But yeah, so that's pretty much what we're going to do on the interior. So underneath you can see got a custom cross member there for the trans. Didn't like that factory cross member, so we made that. You can see the 205 transfer case in there. The exhaust. This exhaust actually has cats in it, and they're real cats. When I first built the truck with the big motor, it had to pass emissions, so I had to throw them in there. Now they're flanged, so I could pull them out and put straight pieces in it. But it's got Flowmaster 44s on it. You can see the exhaust 3-inch all the way out the back. It's corroded now. I'm going to pull it all down, strip it, and get it coated again. But yeah, we're going to pull the body off, clean the frame up, put the stainless lines all through there, maybe change the hardware. I might even change some of the bushings out, even though all the bushings were new 20 years ago. I may just replace them again. But as Caleb's pulling around there, you can see there's the roll cage mount for the front, and it's tied to the frame, and it's got poly bushings in it for vibration, mounted straight through the cab. So you're looking at some of the roll cage mounts there. So you're looking at the B-pillar mount. Came off that spring perch there, made it out of tube, but again it's rubber or poly bushed, keep vibration down. They're just tacked on right now. Those were the first things I just started the beginning of this year getting in. I needed to get those tied in. There's the other cage mount that's basically just right over the back passenger seat. That bar comes down onto the wheel well, and that cage ties in to the frame there. And then of course we have the back bars that tie right at the back of the tailgate and the floor. They're just some straight bars. Again, everything is poly bushed. I think ballistic fab is where I got the bushings. So it's got an 8.8 rear in the back. Right now it's been running ever since we built this with the stock gearing in it. So it's got 350 gears in it. Yeah, it's a dog. Of course, with the bigger motor, a lot of torque. It's not too bad, but it still doesn't get up and go like it's supposed to be. So I'm going to re-gear this again when I do the chassis while I'm under there. Still deciding 456s or 488s, but it has a track lock in it. The front Dana 44 also has a track lock in the front. And it has a 410 gear in it currently when I bought that. So really have never really ran four-wheel drive in this thing because of the gear ratios being out. So been really more of a road queen, but we're going to switch out the front and the rear to be matching this winter, because we're going to do it, and we're going to do it once. One of the little projects I had one of the years when I had some spare time is this gas filler door. When you run the Bushwhacker flares, you can see the shadow here. It would always come across. I don't know if you guys know the Bronco doors, but you'd have to cut the corner of the door off basically to get the door open. I just didn't like the look of that, so I ended up finding a Chevy pickup truck billet aluminum gas door, which I've taken off now because I'm trying to prep some body work here. But so this has a billet aluminum door, the old push click magnetic, it'll pop out. So I basically made this whole insert. Probably could have cut it out of a truck, but I ended up making this all by hand. So that'll be a cool detail you won't see on, the bullnose Bronco. All right, so the back of the tailgate here, I had to do a rust repair panel down here. Of course, they're known for rusting, so we got this, again, got a lot of body work to still grind and finish off in Bondo. With the body lift, you always have that gap. Again, I have custom tube bumpers, which you'll see in probably in the beginning of the pictures there. So I wanted to put a custom roll pan down here. That's what these slots are for the bumper to go into. So that'll clean that up without having that big ugly gap there. The other thing is we're going to run a soft top. I currently still have the hard top, but I'm probably going to sell it, give it away, throw it away. I'll never put a hard top back on this. So I've gutted the tailgate. The glass is out. The actual actuator and everything is out of this. And I'm going to end up filling the top gap where the window and the seals go, and I'll probably fill that with metal, weld it out, and kind of finish it off to make it look smooth. The same will go with all along the exterior. Probably smooth out most of that stuff, get rid of the factory seals since the soft top doesn't use any of that, but just try to clean it up as best as we can. So that's pretty much the Bronco. The plan is, you're probably wondering, well, what color? The color's been picked out for years. My wife picked out the color. Actually picked out a lot of the exterior. She lets me do mechanically what I want with it. She would have never thought of putting a 472 in it, but she's picked the tires, the wheels, the paint, the seats, things that, make a difference. But it's going to be, we're going to paint it Viper Blue, which is that vibrant, bright Viper Blue, very cool color. The plan is next year, 2022, to have it done by July. We are planning to go to the 35th anniversary of the Summer Nationals in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, which, again, I used to race at with my mud truck, and we used to attend just as a family. This time, we're going to take this truck finished. But, stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of work, obviously, we have to get done before now and then. And there's other projects in the middle, as you've seen, because there's always something in this garage that takes its precedence over this. But I'm really trying to focus on the Bronco, put a lot of time, and we're going to get this thing done.
Well, guys, that's the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions or any ideas for the Bronco here, just let us know in the comments. And hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys hit that like button. And we'll see you in the next one.